The armpit of America here, New Jersey, where the Jets a year ago they trade for Aaron Rodgers. All hopes are high. They're on Hard Knocks. They're talking about charcuterie boards and the whole 10 yards. And then 4 plays into Aaron Rodgers' tenure, sacked by Leonard Floyd, and Rodgers gets up, puts his hands on his hips, goes back down, and that's the saddest moment of my life.
By the way, you are playing Leonard Floyd week 1 again.
Don't remind me, please. Okay. And then after the Rodgers injury, the quarterback carousel began, and that really was the gist of the Jets season.
I mean,
Boyle, Zach Wilson, Trevor Siemian. Yeah. 7 wins. I don't know how they won 7 games. I really don't know.
I don't. Based on the game that we went to, I have no idea because I was more concerned about the beer I was drinking and the punt return than the rest.
Are you sure you weren't concerned about the little glowing wrist thing?
That was awesome.
That was the coolest part, bro. The intro and the glowing wrist were the sickest.
The punt return. That was it.
It was more presentation than it was game, like on-field action. But
and
it was
to be honest, that's all I remember from that game.
Same. That's all I remember. As soon as the kickoff happened after that was a punt return, right?
Yeah, it was a punt.
Yeah. It was a punt return. I sat in that end zone.
Right there.
So were we.
As soon as the kickoff happened after that, I don't remember a single second of the rest of the game. But
all I remember is Zach Wilson had a terrible play where he rolled out, had a guy, and just missed him.
Oh,
that was it.
Might have been CJ Uzama. He was just dropping everything that game. That's the first Jet game I lost early.
Over his hands. It was like even with full extension, like off the top of the.
But yes, let's go into the roster here, and they completely overhauled this entire offense. They bring in a Pro Bowler in Tyron Smith. They get rid of Laken Tomlinson. They bring in John Simpson. They trade for Morgan Moses, who was on the team back in 2021. Yeah, Mike Williams, a pork roll sandwich, helped secure the deal to get him into New York. That is still a phenomenal story if you've not heard of it. Yeah, and I got to talk about one of my favorite rookies on here, Malachi Corley, the Yak King he proclaims himself. Yes, I am excited for the Debo of the East.
That's a good one. I'm excited
for Debo of the East.
I really like that. So I'm going to have a question just judging on right now because I totally forgot you guys got Tyron Smith. And Morgan Moses, I should say. The two of them could have. Olu is backing up this year, confirmed?
That's when Tyron Smith, who has not finished an entire season since 2015.
That's also true.
That's if he can step in and you got... Hey, I think he could be the next best left tackle for the Jets. I think he could be up there with Shaw Ferguson. I really think he can be.
Olu could easily be the best left tackle in football.
I know. I think he could be that as well. I am excited for this offensive line. If you ask me about Aaron Rodgers and maybe any injury concerns, I'm more concerned about the offensive line and their health. And I know I've told you guys this before, and I'll say it to the masses here. The Jets have not had consistency at the offensive line since Shaw Ferguson, who played 10,826 snaps out of a possible 10,827 snaps. Okay? He's never missed a practice. And also, you look at center, Nick Mangold. You think of Jets, you think of those two on the offensive line. Two historic pieces.
Big reason why they beat Patriots. Why Mark Sanchez was successful at all.
Damian Woody, oh my God. I missed that offensive line. Matt Slauson, that was an incredible offensive line.
I'm going to say I loved your guys' offseason, especially your draft.
Yeah.
Loved it.
This is a home run here. They hit it out of the park.
Which you needed to. You needed to because this is like Aaron Rodgers this year kind of thing. It has to be this year. Has to be the year.
You don't even know what Rodgers is going to do because, he hasn't played football since I'm not even considering the preseason or even the 4 snaps he played. He hasn't played a game since the Lions and Packers played in 2022. He has not played a football game since.
But it's also Aaron Rodgers. If he's healthy, he will be good.
Yeah.
And the offensive line, which when he had it in Green Bay, forget about it.
Exactly. If he's protected and he's healthy, forget about it. Even when he's not protected, that one Bears game where Khalil Mack was murdering him until he came back in the second half.
High as a kite.
Yeah. But what I was gonna say is my biggest thing for a good offseason is like, does a move make me say the rich get richer?
Yeah.
And there were two on the offense that made me say that. It was Malachi Corley. I thought Olu Fashana would start, so that really didn't do it. But Braylon Allen was a stud that took over for Jonathan Taylor as the Wisconsin running back of that big, long line that they have of Wisconsin running backs.
And let's not forget, too, he just turned 20 years old, Braylon
He's
Allen.
amazing. Like, if they didn't have Brees, if every other team, he's a starter, almost. Not named, McCaffrey, Saquon.
Yeah.
Like, that's a starter day one on almost every team.
And then you also still have Brees, who
Still have Brees.
was very, very good last year. Obviously needed to be, but
You have
still.
Tariq Cohen.
The kick return game is now up, and they signed Tariq Cohen. Tariq Cohen I forgot he was a Jet too until I saw the depth chart. I'm like, uh-oh. I also forgot Mike Williams was a Jet until last week, so that was
I think that's half the reason why we drafted Cooper DeJean.
I did not.
Because he can return punts and kicks.
Terry Cohen's only 28 years old.
And he hasn't been in the league in 4 years. Just put that into perspective.
Bro, what? I
That's
expected to look that up and him be 33.
That's like least. James White. James White's like barely older than we are. And he's like selling insurance now.
Yeah. It's funny.
But yeah, this is the offensive. This is the offensive.
It's a really good offense. Again,
and the injury bug, I think, is MetLife turf is number one, and then number two is the injury bug, which they kind of go hand in hand there. So
if they were to I'm dead set in believing that Devontae Adams is going to be a Jet. I didn't know this until you guys said it earlier, but I am convinced that he's trying to work his way back to Rodgers. Like, there's been a whole bunch of things that have been dropped about, like, you're an idiot for leaving Rodgers, and he's super unhappy with Jimmy Garoppolo and how the Raiders have been doing.
But he loves Antonio Pierce, and that meant everything to him, so I don't know.
Yeah, but
I got to finish the receiver to see where he was at the end of the season.
I have watched none of it.
It's not as good as the quarterback.
It's Netflix, right?
Yeah, it's not.
So my Netflix is actually kind of.
But I mean, they're also having 6 guys on receiver compared to 3 quarterbacks, where they can slowly set the pace. Now they got to cram so much stuff into 8 episodes.
Like the first episode, I'll just say it real fast. The first episode was only 3 of them, and then it's 5 receivers, bro. The first episode was 3 of them, about 3 of them. Oh, is it 6? No, it's 5. The first episode was about the 2 49ers, and then Amon-Ra. And then the next episode was Justin Jefferson and Devontae. And then I haven't finished the third yet. I don't know if they're all in it. But, we'll see where Devontae's head was at when Antonio Pierce happened and where it was at the end of the season. I'm looking forward to that.
That is true, but, like, I do think some part of him, like, especially since he only went there for Derek Carr.
Yeah. Yeah, that's also true. And immediately Derek Carr was gone.
They shipped off Derek Carr.
Yeah.
I think he's going to
Josh McDaniels
work his way back to Rodgers somehow.
I just don't think it's going to happen this off season.
I don't think he starts. I really don't think he starts the season with the Raiders. I just don't.
I really don't.
Antonio Brown his way out of there. He's going to freeze his feet.
Yeah. You're going to see him run out of the house like.
Ah! I saw an interview with Derek Carr. He's like, man, everyone was gross to me. Like, oh, AB played a practice with me and like didn't like it. But he was like, but Derek Carr was like, I would have won MVP if he was with the Raiders that year.
That was a good year to do it. Go for it.
As we go for the defense here, not a whole lot's changed. They bring in Javon Kinlaw, the former first-round pick for the 49ers. And you still have, you trade for a Hassan Reddick after what's-his-face went down I-95. They shipped the other guy up I-95. Who knows if Reddick's even going to show up next week for training camp.
I was just about that.
They report on Monday. I think everyone reports, rookies and veterans. So that's where we're at right now.
I am still mad that Reddick is not an Eagle.
Yeah.
By the way, I'm still mad about it.
You could take him back. How about we get the other guy back?
I get angry. Like, that dude set up for. We'll get to. I should get to him when we get to the Eagles.
Okay, this actually, This defense is very good.
No, this defense reminds me of the really good Eagles defenses that we used to have back in the
Like
day.
the 2000s.
Like really the ones that shaped my fandom.
Mm-hmm.
The whole reason why I love good defenses. Like they just have everything. They got a good, nose tackles don't really exist anymore, but nose tackle and Quinn Williams. They got theoretically the pass rushers on the outside that both I wanted as an Eagle, Jermaine Johnson out of the draft, and then Reddick to still be here.
Yeah.
Let's also not forget too.
Good. Like
maybe they might get something out of Tack McKinley, who's now on the Jets as well.
Geez, that
another piece.
where
And he is the third. He's in the third
Oh.
piece right behind Reddick
Alvin
there.
Thomas too.
And they also have Quantez Stiggers, the Canadian Football League god that, I don't know, he looked really good in one of the pro days he participated in, goes in the 5th round to the Jets. And that now adds up with Sauce Gardner, DJ Reed, Michael Carter, who is also already a great cornerback room as it is, Chuck Clark, who's coming off of a torn ACL while on vacation last year, Tony Adams, who was one of the low-key, underrated kind of guys at safety as well. Ashton Davis is also there. I love this team.
Yeah, I will say I would if I were you.
Isaiah Oliver too.
Oh, I didn't even. Yep.
Wow.
This is a stacked team with some depth as well. I mean,
So
Now,
really,
you got to survive training camp.
Will, what? All right. I mean, like, I'm jumping the gun a little bit, but what makes this team successful?
It's a Super Bowl. You bring in Aaron Rodgers because you want to put a trophy next to the AFL versus NFL. That's labeled on the trophy. Let's just put that there. The AFL versus NFL championship. You want a trophy that's going right next to it. Rodgers wants a trophy that's next to it. It's anything less than the Super Bowl. And I said it last year. Anything less than the Super Bowl is a complete waste.
We might have said that exact thing, that exact
so
thing last year.
what I was about to ask
You don't
is,
bring Aaron Rodgers to be like, oh, we're going to build up a guy. No, you're bringing in Aaron Rodgers because you want a Super Bowl. That's
how do
the
they
whole
Jets
point.
this? How do they Jets this?
I think we all know.
The
How'd they
MetLife
do-
turf,
Yeah.
training camp. I mean, I enjoyed training camp last year when I went with Dom, although it was 100 degrees and we were sweltering in the chairs.
I
That's
wore
a-
a black
That's
shirt.
a you problem.
Yeah, it was an idiot move on my
I wore
part.
my Darnold jersey. I would wear it again,
Of course you
damn
did.
it.
That's probably what cursed them. It was probably you wearing a Darnold jersey and the Aaron Rodgers' first practice.
I don't wear jerseys at all when I watch games, and I have a
I know.
30-piece collection behind me. I don't like wearing jerseys when I'm watching games.
And your love for Darnold is probably what's cursing the Jets right now.
Listen. But yes, let's go to the schedule here for the Jets. And again, I think week 1's the most difficult part of that first 11 games. You play, 6 primetime games. If you want to consider London, because it's a standalone game, it's 7. But yes, I think this can repeat as the 2010 Jets. You could go 9-2 going into the bye. I really think 9-2 going into the bye. I think 12, 13 wins can be.
It's a nice buy for a good playoff run.
Yeah,
If you make it there.
Easy buy.
Week
And
10.
you going to Florida in December, like. I don't like playing Buffalo week 17. That's a snowstorm and a half that's going to happen that game.
Well, you just bench everybody. You want to be in a position where you just bench everybody. You don't worry about it. But
Well, you could even easily have 10 wins before the bye week.
The 49ers game, I think, is the most difficult game. I mean, that's obvious.
I think that'll really be the most telling game of the season. If you go out and you are at the very least like blow for blow with the Niners, and you stay healthy.
Yeah.
I don't
like-
like the cross-country road trip, though, to begin the season. You start out on the West
Well-
Coast, then you got 6 days to go to Nashville, and then you have 4 days to play Thursday night. You're playing 10 games.
You're a Flyers fan. You should be used to the screwy schedule.
Yes, I know. Oh, hey, we're opening in Calgary, and we're going to be on the West Coast for the next 3 weeks because we got the carnival in town.
Literally opening the season with a West Coast.
10:30 at night. I'm not staying up to watch that game. I'll watch the highlights on SportsCenter.
First 3 games West Coast.
Why is there the to be decided thing?
Because they don't decide week 18 games because ESPN wants 2 games that are in prime, playoff contention. So like this year was the Steelers and the Ravens. The Steelers can get in
I don't
after
mind it.
some other stuff, and then the primetime game is
Yeah,
usually
they don't get
a
times.
playoff deciding like factor.
I don't think they've given times for the last week of the season for a very long time.
They
'cause
haven't done it since they started week 18.
Yeah.
I just always known like no matter what the week 17 game.
Well, they
Well,
used to do like here's a
they'll
bunch
change
of 1
the
o'clock
whole
games and like 3, 4 o'clock games, but then they would be like, okay, we're gonna switch all these games around because of like,
Yeah, they'll all get
scheduling.
changed. They'll
Yeah.
schedule them all 1 o'clock, but by the time you actually get there, they'll decide who really are what the real schedule is.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool. I like that. Because they're all Sundays anyway, so it's not like you're screwing over like people that have tickets because it's not going to be like,
Well, you still have the Saturday, but like that's also a day before, so it's not even like.
But they would say Saturday a
Yeah.
long time in advance.
No, they won't do that until they figure out after week 17. They don't decide that. So like this,
Oh, really?
the Jets Dolphins game could be a Saturday game or a Sunday game. You don't even know till
because of the primetime stuff.
because
Well, it's
ESPN wants the 2 playoff games there. That's what they want.